So the next important in the watershed movement in the Indian national struggle took place in 1931 in the form of civil disobedience movement, right? So you must be wondering, the last movement of Gandhi took place in 1922. So why such a long gap? Gandhi believed that to start a mass struggle, you need appropriate time. You need to galvanize people, otherwise there will be no meaning of mass struggle. People need to come together and understand that we should fight against oppressive colonial rule. It's not like Gandhi was very practical in the sense that he knew that you cannot go and start movement every day. You need certain time, certain context, certain base which needs to be done before you start a mass struggle and an all India basis. Right? So that is why from 1922 until 1931 he was engaged in enlightening people about the nationalist struggle. He was engaged in promoting Khadi. He was engaged in promoting Charkha. He was telling women basically what they need to do. So he was preparing grounds, right? And this civil disobedience movement, basically, just to give you an idea, this movement started in 1931 from the Sabarmati ashram in Gujarat to a village which was approximately 240 miles from Sabarmati to a village 240 miles approximately, which was known as Dandi. That is why this civil disobedience movement is sometimes also known as Dandi March. So what happened is, Gandhi, before starting his movement, always gave certain amount of thing to the opposite party also. He said, okay, I'll just give you chance to correct your mistakes, otherwise I will start a movement. So Gandhi was no different in this. He gave them 11 points demand, which were very, very basic, right? To decrease racism, to increase the salaries of the Indian people, to reduce salt tax and all those things, right? So all these very, very basic demands which the Britishers could have very, very easily comprehended, but they did not. They said no to all the 11 points demand of Gandhi. So now Gandhi started the civil disobedience movement, right? So when Gandhi started the civil disobedience movement, what exactly happened is, he said to the people that we are going to break the basic law, which is the salt law. Salt law is something in which people were to pay a tax to the British government in order to make salt even from the ocean, right? A thing which was present in abundance. So they should not have been paying taxes. And the cleverness of Gandhi was clearly seen in this. How? Because Gandhi actually realized that salt as an agent, as an ingredient, was present in each and every household. So that will actually galvanize each and every section of the society, because that was a minimum requirement of a certain section, of every section of the society. That was not something which was used in the Hindu household. That was not something which was used only in the Muslim household. Everybody took salt alike, otherwise the food would not have been present, right? That was the basic idea behind Gandhi choosing salt law breakage as a major motive behind this movement. So he started this breaking of salt law movement, and everything just went on. Protest, again the same basic tenets of the Gandhian movement, boycott, foreign cloth, everything, all these things actually started. And in this movement, a new thing which took place was women now even participated in picketing of liquor shops. Why do you think only women were allowed to picket liquor shops? First of all, you need to understand what is the meaning of picket. Picket is going to a particular shop and vandalizing that particular area, right? So that is what is known as picketing. So why do you think only women were allowed in the picketing of the liquor shops? Yeah, there is one serious reason, one is funny reason, right? One serious reason is when women go and attack the owners of the liquor shop or the foreign cloth shop, they can easily get away with the thing. How? Because people do not attack women, right? They cannot go and attack women directly, they cannot slap them. So Gandhi used this as a very clever tactic to tackle people from opposing this whole picketing business, right? And also second reason might have been, like this is might be true, might not be true, that if the men went for picketing, they might have picketing of the liquor shops I'm specifically talking about, they might have consumed the liquor themselves, right? This was not the case with women, right? That is why Gandhi chose women for picketing of liquor shops and foreign clothes, right? So that is a basic idea. That is why it is a watershed movement in the Indian freedom struggle, right? After this, people get even more galvanized, which is seen in the 1942 Quit India movement, right? So this is what is done. So now, when the movement was going on, suddenly Gandhi notices that the movement is losing steam. So as the marker of a very flexible leader, and as we have started with struggle through struggle, Gandhi entered into a pact with Lord Irwin, the then Governor General, right? So when Gandhi got into this whole act, Gandhi-Irwin Pact, in this pact what exactly happened is, now the villages which were along the coastal lines were allowed to make salt. Political prisoners were freed, and Congress in return agreed to stop civil disobedience movement and participate in the second roundtable conference, right? So this is the basic idea. This is how the civil disobedience movement comes to an end, right? So this is the basic ideas of Gandhi-Irwin Pact. So now we come to next important ideas in the civil disobedience movement, which is a round table conference. So why do you think the conferences were happening in a round table context? Why? There's a very logic behind it. So if you consider the shape of a circle is basically having no edges, no place which is larger than the other. So everything is equal in a circle, right? So symbolically, the Britishers were trying to treat each and every section of the Indian society on an equal platform, on an equal basis. That is where roundtable conferences were started. And there were 3 roundtable conferences from 1931 until 1932. And the basic question which comes in the exam is, in which roundtable conference did Congress participated? It was in the second roundtable conference in which Congress participated, and it was the only roundtable conference in which Congress participated. Why? Because in the first, civil disobedience movement was going on. In the second, because of the issues of separate electorate which was given to the depressed classes along with Christians and others, so Congress opposed to it. And Gandhi made a very, very famous statement. He said, look to Rams MacDonald, the then British Prime Minister, right? He said, you are giving separate electorates only to the 11% population of India, and we, the Congress people, represent 85% of the total population. So you cannot do anything in India without the permission of Congress. So he did not participate in the third roundtable conference. So what exactly happened is, Ramsay MacDonald gave separate electorates to the Dalits. We need to understand that separate electorates were already given to the Muslims in 1909, parliamentary reforms, right? Now, another thing which we need to understand is what is the difference between reserved seats and the separate electorates. So, in the separate electorates, for example, if I am standing in a particular constituency X for municipal elections, and that particular constituency X is reserved for Muslims, right? I'm saying reserved. If that particular category is reserved for Muslims, the point is only a Muslim candidate can stand, right? Only a Muslim candidate can stand, but there's a catch. But each and every section of that society, of that particular constituency, can go and vote, depending upon the factor whether they are 18 years of age or not. That is a very significant thing, that each and every section of the society can vote for that particular candidate. But in the separate electorate, what exactly happened is a candidate from a particular community will stand, and only members of that particular community are going to vote for him. So Gandhi said, look, untouchables are already under so much of stress. They have been so much depressed, so much of kind of oppressed by the upper section of society. So giving them separate electorates will do two things. First of all, it will create a wedge between Hindus. Up till now, Hindus and Muslims were fighting with each other. Now even the sections of the Hindus will be fighting with each other. And also it will permanently create a marker on the Dalits that they are Dalit. So they will not be able to come to the mainstream society, to which Gandhi was protesting against, right? So he went on a fast in 1932 when he was in Jarwada jail, Pune. This is also important, that he was in Jarwada jail, Pune. So he protested against this Ramsey MacDonald Award, which was given to Ambedkar. Ambedkar, the representative of the Dalits. So this is what happened. So now Gandhi was on a protest. So Ambedkar was also not actually doing anything. He said, okay, I am not going to relent. Let Gandhi do whatever he wants. But as the health of Gandhi, as he was on an indefinite hunger strike, was deteriorating, so Ambedkar had to relent. There was a pact which was signed between Gandhi and Ambedkar, which is known as the Pune Pact, in which Ambedkar agreed to the idea of Gandhi for having reserved seats in the Central Legislative Assembly and in the Provincial Legislative Assembly, and he let go of the idea of separate electorates, right? So this is basically what happened in the civil disobedience movement. So the question which can come in the mains exam regarding the civil disobedience movement is that how do you think it was a watershed movement in the Indian freedom struggle? So we have discussed that Pune Pact, reserved seats idea, women participating, and after the end of roundtable conferences, 1935 Government of India Act came. So all these things culminated into making the civil disobedience movement a watershed movement. 1935 Government of India Act became the basis for the Indian Constitution in the future era, right? That is how it became. And why exactly Gandhi and Ambedkar fought for this Pune Pact? So that is a thing for a separate discussion, in which we are going to discuss the ideas of Gandhi and Ambedkar. And when we are going to discuss the ideas of Ambedkar in contrast to that of Gandhi, then we are going to understand that why exactly was Ambedkar opposed to the idea of reserved seats. Although he had to relent, but he was not in favor of Gandhian idea of upliftment of the Dalits.